Today is 7 crops you could plant in June for a massive harvest. The first crop is a second round of your carrots. I like to grow mine in a deep raised bed, like in the raised bed behind me or another raised bed that I have, because carrots have a long taproot and needs at least 10 to 12 inches of good soil in order for them to grow properly. The first step is we have to make sure that the soil is thoroughly moist, because right now it's a bit dry. Then, when your soil is wet, next is to plant your carrots. And you could plant them by making a small trench and then carefully spacing out a few seeds, just like that. But then if you drop too much seed, there could be more thinning to do. So what I like to do instead is I just sprinkle the seeds and move my hand quick so that the seeds are spread over the surface of the bed and not in like one spot. I'm gonna take a watering can and water the seeds again. Then cover them with some sheets of cardboard, plus some sheets of metal. And now the sheet of cardboard as well as the metal combined works to give me double protection against the heat. Just be sure to every day check on your carrots in case it was really hot and the soil dry out, at which point it will need more water. And when the carrot seed sprouts, you want to lift your covers and be sure to water the seeds every day with ideally a light sprinkler setting so that you don't lose the good carrot germination that you already have. You may have some spinach growing, but soon they'll be bolting from the heat and you'll still want to be harvesting spinach. So the next crop is a replacement that will serve just like spinach for you, which is your Swiss chard. In fact, your Swiss chard is so tolerant to the heat that they are most likely to bolt from cooler temperatures than the heat. You could also get Swiss chard in many different colors, in red, white, yellow, and much more. So not only does it look nice, but it tastes exactly just the same as your spinach. Swiss chard is also great for freezing, which we put into our freezer when they're producing a lot. And then in winter, we could always take them out and use them in our dishes. This is just a cup of some soil from one of my raised beds. And then with my Swiss chard, I'm just gonna take a few of them. And then I like to sprinkle the seeds in the cup like that. And then just barely cover them back. Don't forget to water them in which about 7 to 14 days, your Swiss chard should germinate for you. Cucumber is another great crop you could get planted in June. I once planted my first batch of cucumber in the beginning of May. I then planted a second batch in June. And while I was getting my first crop, then my second crop came in and I was getting even more cucumbers. Sometimes cucumbers could get attacked by a pest called the cucumber beetle, and they eat the leaves of your plant, and if there's a lot of them, they could end up killing them. Also, if you live in a southern climate where it's very wet and the humidity is really high, sometimes your cucumber plants could get diseased early, which could end up killing them off early. So starting a next batch of cucumbers is good for that, just in case. And if not, you could just plant them out and you'll get more cucumbers anyways. Tomatoes could also be planted in June for a second crop. And if you was going to do that, then you want to go with a determinate style tomatoes because they produce their tomatoes all at once. A good one that I'm growing this year is the Subarctic Plenty. And this one could mature in as little as 40 days. I already got the plants started and will probably be planting them out soon into one of my raised beds. If you're going to start tomatoes, then you'll want to get a start on them now because the amount of days that they take is at least once the plants are already big and after transplanting them. For next round of lettuce, now in June is when we want to be starting them. So I got a twig marked out for as far as I want to plant my lettuce with. So I'm going to water the soil because just like carrots, lettuce are tiny seeds, and by wetting it, it'll make sure that the seeds won't shift later too much. So what I think I'm going to do here is with my lettuce, since I have 4 varieties, I'm just going to be sprinkling it to kind of make my own mix. Just go like this. All over. This is the red one now. And for our romaine, I just sprinkle it here. But then I'm going to be watering them again. And just like our carrots, I'm going to be putting a sheet of cardboard and a metal to go on top. So with the lettuce mix planted, they should germinate for me in about 3 to 4 days. If you have a long enough growing season, then pumpkins and squashes could also be started this month for a harvest in autumn. The best way to start them is really by direct sowing them, given that the temperatures are warm enough, and a benefit is that they'll have less transplanting shock. Beans is the 7th crop. I had my beans soaking in a container of water for overnight and a little bit of yesterday. So now I'm gonna go ahead and plant them on my trellis. I still have some extra seeds, and I think I planted my first one a little farther apart, so I'll go back and plant some of this. The beans are planted and soon they'll start growing, but usually they start off a little slow, and then once they start attaching to the trellis, they'll grow much faster, after which point soon they'll start producing for us. All of the crops that I just gave you were crops that you could success and plant so that you could keep your harvest going, or to boost your harvest later on in the season. But other crops you could still start in June is some corn. You can also start herbs from cuttings like what I have here, and tomatoes. They root easily from cuttings of suckers. You could root them and then grow them in containers. And flowers that you could start in June is some marigold, cosmos, zinnias. You could also start borage as well. As for other veggies that you could still plant in June, there is still radishes and daikon radish you could plant, which is much milder. Zucchini can also be planted, as well as melons if you have a long enough growing season, because melons need a good amount of time to produce. Potatoes and onion sets could also be planted in June. It's a really hot day out here, and we got Tweaker some watermelon to enjoy. Where's the other piece? Hey. Make sure you guys pack a like emoji or watermelon in the comments for Tweaker if you like seeing her in our videos. Oh wow. This thing is full of juice. You guys seem to be enjoying this. So that's it for the video and all of the crops mentioned in it. If you want to know how to care for them after they grow so that they don't die, then I have a bonus gift for you in the description of this video right at the top that you can have for free. Goodbye!